Hello students, in this video we are going to do the explanation of Act 3 and we will begin from Scene 1. It takes place in Venice, a street, and there we have Salarino and Salarino in conversation. They come to know the real plans of Shylock. So without wasting any time, let's quickly start with the explanation of the text. Act 3, Scene 1. Scene 1, that is in Venice, Salarino and Salanio are there on stage. Salanio says, "Now what news on Rialto?" Rialto is the exchange marketplace or exchange market area. Salarino says, "Why, it lives there unchecked that Antonio hath a ship of rich lading wrecked on the narrow seas." It is still unchecked means it is still not confirmed. उसकी अभी पक्का खबर नहीं आई है कि वहाँ पर एंटोनियो की शिप रेक हुई है इंग्लिश चैनल में, या जिस शिप का रेक हुआ है that is the one that belongs to Antonio or not. It is not confirmed as yet. The Goodwins, I think they call the place a very dangerous flat and fatal, where the carcasses of many a tall ship lie buried. He says that particular place where the shipwreck has taken place is called the Goodwin Islands, and it is a shallow place where it is a dangerous flat means it's a dangerously shallow area of the sea where most of the big ship usually get stuck and that leads to their shipwreck. So the same thing has happened with this particular ship also. As they say, if my gossip report be an honest women of our word. He says कि this is the news I have got as a gossip, if this to be believed as, or the women who has given me this particular report is to be believed to be an honest woman, then that is the news she has given to me. It is not that he has got this news from a woman, but basically the rumors which are spread out are considered to be spread by the gossiping women. So that is why he is saying, if this is the gossip report of if this is the gossip report of an honest woman, then this is the information I have received. Salanio comments on that gossip women only particular part of the speech, and he says, "I would she were as lying a gossip in that as ever napped ginger, or made her neighbors believe she wept for the death of her third husband." I wish that the gossip women you are talking about who has given you this report should be as lying as ever she had sat in front of her door and told her neighbors that how much she cried and she wept and she was sad on the death of her third husband. The explanation, or the you can say background story, background description is, during those days most of the ladies, the middle-aged women, they usually had no work, or when they finished their daily chores of the house, they used to sit outside near their doors, and on the particular threshold, or you can say near the doors, the other women would also sit around them, and then they would have all their gossiping, all their talking to each other. They would have ginger in their mouth so that they can chew it, because it was considered to be good for the digestion as well as for the other physical problems, stomach and digestion related. So she would always, such women would always chew a ginger and tell their neighbors that, oh, this is the thing, or जो भी gossip होती थी they would say there. So यहाँ पर सलानियो कह रहा है कि तुम्हारी वो गॉसिप रिपोर्ट वाली वुमेन भी शायद ऐसी झूठी होनी चाहिए जैसे कि वो किसी को अपने घरों के आगे बैठ के ये बताए कि I cried so much on the death of my third husband, because obviously if a woman is sad, she would be sad on the death of her first husband, but any lady who has lost 3 husbands cannot be equally sad on the death of all the 3 husbands. So that is why she probably is lying, because she has seen many husbands coming and going out. So in that way she is trying to make others believe that she was very sad on the death of her third husband. It is just an explanation what he says about that particular story, not focusing on that, focusing on the later part of the speech we see. But it is true, without any slips of prolixity or crossing the plain highway of talk, that the good Antonio, the honest Antonio, oh, that I had a title good enough to keep his name company. He says, oh, but the news is true, and that is, If I tell you in the simplest way, the most important thing, the end part or the end thing is, the baseline is that Antonio, and then he starts giving all the adjectives to Antonio. Oh, good Antonio, honest Antonio, I wish I had some particular adjective to suit his name. All those things he starts dragging the conversation. So Salarino cuts him off in between and says, come, the full stop. That means come to the point. What do you want to say? What is the end part you want to say? Salanio says, ha, what sayest thou? Why, the end is, he hath lost a ship. He says, oh, what do you want to know? The baseline is, the end part or the conclusion is that Antonio has lost his ship. Salarino says, I would it might prove the end of his losses. I wish, I pray to God that this loss should be the last loss that Antonio ever sees, because this, I wish and pray that this should be the last loss of Antonio, end of all his losses. Salanio says, let me say amen betimes, lest the devil cross my prayer. For here he comes in the likeness of a Jew. He says, you have asked for a good prayer for Antonio. I want to say amen. Amen means may that happen. So I want to say amen before my prayer, your prayer is crossed by or cut by some devil, because I can see the devil coming over here in the form of a Jew. That means Shylock is coming. Shylock is approaching. Enter Shylock. So here Salanio continues his conversation, and now he talks to Shylock and says, how now, Shylock? What news among the merchants? What is the latest information you have, the discussions and the things or the rumors or news going around in the marketplace? Shylock says, you knew none so well as you of my daughter's flight. That means he says, you were the person who knew about my daughter and when and where and how she is going to run away from the house. So he talks running away or eloping. He uses the term flight, to fly away from the house or to run away from the house. So Shylock's comment on flight is basically exaggerated here and explained, you commented over here. Salarino says, that's certain. I for my part knew the tailor that made the wings she flew withal. He says, for my part, I knew the person who gave her the wings, or who gave her this aspiration to run away from your house. And who was that? No one else but Lorenzo. So indeed, Salarino is saying the truth, that he knew the person who was the one reason for who you can say encouraged Jessica to leave her father's house and run away with him. Salanio says, and Shylock for his own part knew the bird was fledged, and then it is the complexion of them all to leave the dame. So he says, Salanio says, Shylock himself knew that his daughter is growing up, has grown up. The daughter is, and the bird is fledged means that the daughter has grown up. And then it is the complexion means it is basically the universal nature that they all grow up and leave the house of their mother, the nest of their mother, the young birds. Similarly, his daughter was grown up, so he knew that his daughter would soon be leaving the house. Shylock says, she is damned for it. If Shylock says that he is commenting on that Shylock knew that Jessica is going to leave the house, so he picks up the word leaving the house, and he says, and he is damned for doing that. He did not want his daughter to leave like this. Salarino says, that's certain, if the devil may be her judge. He says that is going to happen. If devil is going to judge her actions, then obviously the devil can never bless anyone. He can always curse others. Shylock says, my own flesh and blood to rebel. She was my daughter, my flesh, my blood, and still she turned against me and just ran away from the house, causing me all the loss of ducats and diamonds. Salarino says, there is more difference between thy flesh and hers than between jet and ivory. Jet is the term used for pitch black, and ivory is used for proper white. So he says, in your flesh and her flesh, there is difference between that, and the differences of that extent that as it is between black and white. Then more between your bloods than there is between red wine and Rhenish. Rhenish is the white wine. So he says, between white wine and red wine, whatever the difference is, that is the extent of the difference between your blood and her blood. Yours is her blood is pure, and you are pure, or you can say purified blood, but yours is tainted with all the evil things. But tell us, Do you hear whether Antonio had any loss at sea or no? Now they come ask what they really want to know, and they says, did you come to know about the losses that happened in the shipwreck over there, and was it really Antonio's ship or not? So they are asking Shylock because Shylock is always there in the marketplace, and he must be having the idea of what are the rumors or the information or news they are hovering over there in the marketplace. So Shylock says, there I have another bad match, a bankrupt, a prodigal who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto. Now here we see that it seems as if Shylock is very sad that he has got a bad match, that Antonio is basically has become a bankrupt, so now Shylock will not be able to have the money back. But on the other hand, we do know that Shylock is really not worried that Antonio has got a shipwreck. Rather, he is more happy. He's not sad. He's not irritated by the loss. He's rather happy with that particular loss. That we'll come to know in the later scenes, in the same scene itself, when he talks to Tubal. He says, I had another bad person coming across me in the terms of bond, and he was a prodigal. That means he used to have a lot of money, live a very lavish life, and now he has become a bankrupt. That is the other part of the prodigal, totally without any money, in a very bad state of condition. And now he's not showing his head, now he's not showing his face in the marketplace. A beggar that was used to come so smug upon the mart. He was always self-obsessed and had a high opinion about himself, and that is how he used to come to the market. लेकिन अब वो क्या है, मुंह छुपाए फिर रहा है और अपने मार्केट में अपनी शक्ल भी नहीं दिखा रहा है. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me असरर. अब उसको अपनी बॉन्ड पे ध्यान देना चाहिए. वो मुझसे कहता था कि मैं लोगों से पैसा ले लेता हूँ. असरर मीन्स पैसा ज़बरदस्ती ले लेने वाला, ऐठ लेने वाला. सो ही सेइंग कि वो मुझसे कहता था कि मैं पैसे लोगों से ले लेता हूँ. Let him look to his bond. Now he should pay attention to what he has to give to me in the bond, because that is not money, that is 1 pound of flesh. He was wont to lend money for a Christian courtesy. Let him look to his bond. वो पैसा देता था without any interest, because out of Christian courtesy. अब उसे वो देना पड़ेगा जो पेनल्टी में उसने साइन करा, and that is not the money but the pound of flesh. So he should pay attention to his bond. Salarino says, now they got the idea, both Salarino and Salanio, so they are understanding the idea. They inquire from Shylock, why, I am sure, if he forfeit, thou wilt not take his flesh. What's that good for? We are pretty sure कि Shylock तुम उसका फ्लैश तो नहीं लोगे ना, अगर पेनल्टी अगर वो लगती है, यानी कि वो अपना जो बॉन्ड के टाइम तक पैसा नहीं दे पाएगा, अगर तो तुम तो उससे पेनल्टी तो नहीं लोगे, वो पेनल्टी तो तुम्हारी किसी भी काम की नहीं होगी. It is of no use for you, it is useless. Shylock says, to bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. मैं उसको काम में लाऊंगा, मैं उस फ्लैश को यूज़ कर लूँगा. इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी ऑफ यूज़. अगर वो किसी और काम नहीं आएगी तो मैं उससे मछली पकड़ूंगा. To bait fish withal is the first sentence he says. It can be interpreted in 2 different ways. To bait fish withal means मैं उसके फ्लैश को मछली पकड़ने के लिए इस्तेमाल करूँगा. And to bait fish withal means मैं उसको फंसाने के लिए कुछ भी करने को तैयार हूँ. एंटोनियो को फंसाने के लिए I will do anything. So that is why to bait fish withal, उसको फंसाने के लिए एंटोनियो को. I'll try to trap him through this particular term or of the condition of the bond. He hath disgraced me and hindered me 500,000. उसने मुझे कई बार पब्लिकली डिस्ग्रेस करा है, बेइज्जत करा है, इंसल्ट करा है, एंड उसके कई सारी बातों की वजह से ही मेरे को मार्केट में लगभग 500,000 डकेट्स का लॉस उठाना पड़ा है. बिकॉज एंटोनियो यूज्ड टू गिव मनी विदाउट एनी इंटरेस्ट एंड शाइलॉक यूज्ड टू टेक अ लॉट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. तो जो लोगों को शाइलॉक को इंटरेस्ट देना होता था, वो एक बार में ही एंटोनियो से पैसा लेके उसको पूरा पेमेंट कर देते थे, एंड देन दे वुड बी वेरी हैप्पी विद एंटोनियो एंड ऑलवेज गो टू एंटोनियो. सो शाइलॉक वुड लूज द प्रेजेंट कस्टमर ऑल्सो, और आगे के लिए भी उसके कस्टमर कम हो जाते थे. सो दैट इज व्हाई ही इज सेइंग कि ही हैड डिस्ग्रेस्ड मी, हिंडर्ड मी 500,000. And then he says, Antonio always used to laugh at my losses, mock at my gains. मेरे losses पे बहुत खुश होता था, और मेरे अच्छे profits पर he used to make fun of them that वो गलत तरीके से लिए गए हैं. Scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains. मेरे nation को, मेरे race को, Jewish race को he used to curse. And he also thwarted my bargains means most of the time he was always there interfering in my business deals. एंड देन कूल्ड माई फ्रेंड्स हीटेड माइन एनिमीज, मेरे दोस्तों को मेरे खिलाफ कर देता था और मेरे दुश्मनों को मेरे अगेंस्ट खूब भड़काता था. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. And the only reason why he did all these things against me was that I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapon, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winters and summer, as a Christian is. Now he compares and gives a comparison between Jew and a Christian and says कि वो मेरे से चिढ़ता है, सब कुछ मेरे अगेंस्ट करता है just because I am a Jew. क्या एक Jew के पास वैसे ही आँख, नाक, डायमेंशंस, ऑर्गन सब कुछ वैसा ही नहीं होता है? वो वैसा ही इंसान नहीं है जैसे कि क्रिश्चियन होता है? क्या उसको भी वैसे ही खाने से उसकी भूख नहीं मिटती है? और मे बी इफ ही गेट्स हर्ट बाय द वेपन, इज इट नॉट द सेम वेपन जो जिस तरह से क्रिश्चियन को एक हर्ट करेगा वैसे ही Jew को भी हर्ट करेगा? और इज इट नॉट कि अगर बीमार होंगे तो हर एक को एक जैसी ही मेडिसिन से हीलिंग मिलती है? वार्म्ड एंड कूल्ड जस्ट द सेम वे विद द सेम विंटर्स एंड समर्स. Nothing is different for Jews as it is for Christians. The same thing it is for the Jews. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? अगर तुम हमें कोई कांटा या कोई चीज़ चुभाओगे तो क्या हमारे को खून नहीं निकलेगा? या अगर तुम हमारे को टिकल करोगे तो आर वी नॉट गोइंग टू लाफ आउट ऑफ दैट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट टिकलिंग? इफ यू पॉइजन अस, डू वी नॉट डाई? एंड इफ यू रॉन्ग अस, शैल वी नॉट रिवेंज? अगर तुम हमारे संग हमारे को पॉइजन दोगे तो क्या हम मरेंगे नहीं? और अगर कुछ बुरा हमारे संग करोगे तो व्हाट शुड वी डू? वी शुड बी टेकिंग द रिवेंज ओनली. शैल वी नॉट टेक रिवेंज मीन्स क्या हमें फिर रिवेंज नहीं लेना चाहिए, बदला नहीं लेना चाहिए? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. अगर हम बाकी सारी चीज़ों में तुम्हारी जैसे हैं, क्रिश्चियंस के जैसे ही हैं ज्यूज, तो फिर हम इस बात में रिवेंज लेने में ज्यूज क्रिश्चियंस के जैसे क्यों नहीं होंगे? If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should be his sufferance be by the Christian examples? अगर कोई Jew किसी क्रिश्चियन के अगेंस्ट कुछ गलत करेगा तो वो क्रिश्चियन उसके लिए क्या करेगा? बदला लेगा. तो अगर हम उसी एग्जाम्पल को देखें, सो गोइंग बाय दैट सेम एग्जाम्पल, व्हाट शुड अ Jew do if a Christian does something bad to him? Obviously, he should also be taking the revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute, and it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction. जो विलेनी, जो गलत चीज़ तुमने हमको सिखाई है, जिसके एग्जाम्पल हम तुम्हारे से लेते हैं, अब वही चीज़ मैं एग्जीक्यूट करूँगा, मैं वो फॉलो करूँगा. और जब मैं फॉलो करूँगा तो मैं उस एग्जाम्पल को, उस टीचिंग को और भी बढ़िया तरीके से और स्ट्रिक्ट मैनर में करके दिखाऊँगा. दैट मीन्स द रिवेंज यू हैव टॉट अस टू टेक, आई विल टेक इट इवन मोर फियर्स एंड इवन मोर स्ट्रिक्टली. At that time enters a servant. यहाँ पर servant has come from Antonio searching for Salarino and Salanio, because obviously in the previous scenes we have seen that they were searching for Antonio. So here we can say that Antonio sent the servant and called them to have a conversation, because right now he is without any friends. Lorenzo is not there, Graciano, Bassanio, they are not there. So obviously he is just left with Salarino and Salanio. So they are his constant companions whenever he is alone and sad. So servant says, gentlemen, my master Antonio is at his house and desires to speak with you both. My master means Antonio ने वो घर पे हैं, वो आप दोनों से मिलना चाहते हैं, इसलिए उन्होंने आपको बुलाया है. Salarino says, we have been up and down to seek him. हम भी उसी को ढूंढ रहे थे, ऊपर से नीचे तक हर जगह जाके ढूंढा. And we were searching for Antonio. Even we were told, Shylock said that he is not going to the marketplace, he is nowhere showing his face. So that means he was not going out of his house because of the creditors coming over there. That we'll come to know later. Salanio says, here comes another of the tribe. A third cannot be matched unless the devil himself turn Jew. देखो उसके साथ, नाउ हियर शाइलॉक है, उसके साथ दूसरा एक और आ रहा है, एंड ही सेज अनदर ऑफ हिज ट्राइब. दैट मीन्स अनदर पर्सन हैज कम हु इज अ Jew. And he says these two people are very, very shrewd, very evil, and no other man over here in this world can be equally devilish like them, diabolic like them. It is only the devil himself can come down, और तभी यहाँ पर तीसरा कोई इंसान इनके जितना evil हो सकता है. दो लोग आ गए हैं equally evil, and तीसरा अगर इंसान इनके कोई बराबरी का होगा तो that would be अगर evil या devil खुद ही नीचे आ जाए एक Jew के shape में, form में. At this time, Salarino, Salanio and servant, they leave the place, and here we see on stage we have Shylock, and now he is joined by Tubal. Shylock says, How now, Tubal? What news from Geneoa? Hast thou found my daughter? क्या खबर लाए हो तुम Tubal Geneoa से? क्या तुमने मेरी बेटी को ढूंढा? So here with this particular speech we come to know that Shylock, somewhere or the other, he took help of his friend Tubal and sent him somewhere in Geneoa to find where his daughter is. And Tubal, as a friend and as an assistant, is there to help him out, and he has taken the money to go and find for search about various information that he can get about Jessica. Tubal says, I often came where I did hear of her, but cannot find her. मैं कई जगहों पर गया वहाँ पर जहाँ जहाँ मुझे जेसिका के बारे में कुछ भी इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलने को होती थी, लेकिन जब भी मैं वहाँ पहुँचता था उससे पहले जेसिका वहाँ से चली जाती थी. So that is why I was not able to find her. Shylock says, Why there a diamond gone, cost me 2,000 ducats in Frankfurt. He is still not worried कि उसके हाथ में जेसिका नहीं मिल पा रही है, उसको हाथ नहीं लग पा रही है. He is more worried कि जेसिका के वजह से उसको वो डायमंड और वो टर्कोइज और उसके डकेट्स नहीं मिल पा रहे हैं. एंड ही सेज, ओ माई डायमंड जो मेरे को 2,000 डकेट्स का पड़ा था वो वहाँ फ्रैंकफर्ट में से लिया था मैंने, और वो मेरे को पता नहीं शायद कभी नहीं मिल पाएगा. The curse never fell upon our nation till now. I never felt it till now. 2,000 ducats in that and other precious jewels. He says, I had never felt the curse that has fallen on the Jewish people. Now it was considered that because of the crucifixion of Jesus, there was a curse जो कि Jewish people पे आ गई थी. So that particular thing has been referred over here by Shylock, which shows he is such a self-centered person. His loss he is considering as the curse on the entire Jewish race, क्योंकि उस पे बुरा हो रहा है तो उसको लग रहा है पूरी Jewish race के साथ ही खराब हुआ है, और ये वही curse है जो Jewish race पे पड़ा है for the crucifixion of Jesus. So that is what he says. कि Jewish race पे जो वो पड़ा है कर्स, आज से पहले मैंने कभी इतनी अच्छी तरीके से उसको फील नहीं करा था as I feel now. 2,000 ducats in that and other precious jewels. मेरे पास 2,000 ducats, other precious jewels and सब चीज़ें भी मेरे हाथ से जा चुकी हैं. I would my daughter were dead at my foot and jewels in her ear. Would she were hearsed at my foot and the ducats in her coffin. वो यहाँ पर we see that there is a true nature of Shylock which has been shown to the public or the audience, that he is such a bad person, he is such an evil person or selfish person that he is not even he doesn't even love or care about his own daughter. He wants कि मेरा डकेट्स और मेरे प्रेशियस स्टोन्स मेरे को वापस मिल जाए, भले ही उसके लिए कुछ भी करना पड़े. एंड देन ही विशेस कि काश मेरी डॉटर जो है वो मेरे सामने मरी पड़ी होती और उसके कानों में वो सारे जूल्स होते, सो दैट आई कुड टेक देम बैक एंड मेरे सामने शी वुड हैव बीन इफ शी वुड बी लाइंग इन द कॉफिन बॉक्स. तो वो सारे डकेट्स उसके आसपास उसी बॉक्स में होते. आई वुड हैव टेकन ऑल दोज कॉफिन्स, ऑल दोज डकेट्स. He is not even bothered what he is talking about his own daughter. So that shows he loved his ducats, his wealth, his precious stones more than his daughter. No news of them, why so? And I know not what's spent in the search. Why thou loss upon loss? उनकी कोई खबर नहीं आई इतना खर्चा करने के बाद भी, और क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है मेरे साथ कि मेरे ऊपर खर्चे पे खर्चा आता जा रहा है, लॉस पे लॉस होता जा रहा है मुझे. The thief gone with so much and so much to find the thief. एक तो चोर चोरी करके चला गया यहाँ से इतने सारे डकेट्स का चीज़ों का, और अब उसको ढूंढने के लिए उतना ही और खर्चा करना पड़ रहा है ताकि उसके बारे में कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल सके या वो चीज़ें जो लेके गया उनको वापस लाया जा सके. And no satisfaction, no revenge, nor no ill luck stirring, but what lights on my shoulder. He's saying कि there is no satisfaction, ना तो मुझे मेरी बेटी और वो सारे डकेट्स और प्रेशियस स्टोन्स मिल पा रहे हैं, neither I am able to take any revenge from the thief, that is his daughter, and the one who has got his daughter away from the house, that is Lorenzo. And then he says, किसी के संग बुरा नहीं हो रहा है, ill luck नहीं हो रहा है पूरी दुनिया में सिवाय मेरे. I am the one who is getting all the ill luck. No sighs but of my breathing. Nobody is groaning in pain. Nobody is having deep breath except for me, who's having all these sighs of pain. No tears but of my shedding. Nobody is crying. कोई रो नहीं रहा है दुख के मारे सिवाय मेरे. I am the one who's breathing heavy and sighing and crying and it all luck coming to my thing. So he's just saying all those things about him, thinking about only himself. At that time, Tubal is reminded of the ill luck that has fallen to someone else. And he says, yes, other men have ill luck too. Antonio, as I heard in Geneoa. He says, हाँ औरों के संग भी बुरा हुआ है जैसे कि एंटोनियो, उसके बारे में मैंने न्यूज़ सुनी जेनेवा में. Now Shylock is suddenly there's a, you can say, a flip of his character. He is sad because of all the things in the previous speech. Suddenly he is eager and excited to know about Antonio's loss. What? Ill luck? That is his excitement. He's saying, क्या बात बोली, क्या बोला तुमने, कुछ इल्लक के बारे में बात बताई तुमने. So Tubal says, hath an argosy cast away coming from Tripolis. एक रिच शिप आ रही थी जो कि शिपरेक हो गई है, जो कि शिप ट्रिपलिस से वापस आ रही थी, यानी एंटोनियो की ट्रिपलिस से आने वाली शिप हैज बीन शिपरेक्ड. Shylock says, I thank God, it's true. That means he has heard this rumor, but he was not sure where to get it that confirmed. So the man, Tubal, has given him the assurance that it is a true information, it is the correct news that Antonio has had a shipwreck. Tubal says, I spoke with some of the sailors that escaped the wreck. मेरी कुछ शिप सेलर से बात हुई थी जो शिप रैक में यानी उसी शिप में थे और शिप रैक के टाइम पे they escaped by swimming across the sea. I thank thee, good Tubal. Good news. Ha. Where? In Geneoa. So he says, I am so thankful तुमने इतनी अच्छी खबर दी. ये सब हुआ कहाँ पे, तुम्हें कहाँ पता चला? जेनेवा में पता चला है. Tubal says, suddenly he changes the topic and comes back to Jessica's place because Shylock the last thing he asks in his speech, where did you come to know about this in Geneoa? And with Geneoa, Tubal is reminded of a piece of information regarding Jessica, and he says, your daughter spent in Geneoa, as I heard, in one night 80 ducats. तुम्हारी बेटी ने जेसिका ने जेनेवा में एक रात में ही खाने पे या एक जगह बैठने पर ही खर्चा करते हुए 80 ducats उड़ा दिए. 80 ducats means 80 ducats. So he says कि उसने 80 ducats वहाँ पे उसी समय उड़ा दिए. Shylock is totally shocked and in a state of shock. He says, thou stickest a dagger in me. I shall never see my gold again. 80 ducats at a sitting. 80 ducats. He is saying कि तुम मेरे को ऐसी बातें करके बिल्कुल ऐसा कोई खंजर मेरे सीने में डाल रहे हो. You are sticking a dagger in my heart. I feel sad that I'll never be able to see all that gold that she's spending ever in my life. And it is 80 ducats in one sitting. एक जगह में ही एक ही बार में उसने 80 ducats का खर्चा कर दिया. ऐसा उसने कितना lavishly उड़ा रही है वो मेरा पैसा. So he is more worried and troubled by this particular information. But then again, Tubal says a different piece of information, and that is regarding Antonio. There came divers of Antonio's creditors in my company to Venice. That's where he cannot choose but break. मेरे साथ कई सारे क्रेडिटर्स एंटोनियो के जो हैं वो एक बड़ी भीड़ जो है सेवरल क्रेडिटर्स वो मेरे साथ वेनिस तक आए जेनेवा से और वो यहाँ इसी पर्पज से आए हैं टू टेक देयर मनी बैक फ्रॉम एंटोनियो और टू रिकवर देयर मनी एंड दे सेड इट इज़ फॉर श्योर दैट इतना सब वापस करने में एंटोनियो विल नॉट बी एबल टू हैव फेस दिस लॉस एंड ही इज श्योर गोइंग टू बी बैंकक्रप्ट. Tubal says, Shylock says, I am very glad of it. I'll plague him. I'll torture him. I am glad of it. अभी वो थोड़ी देर पहले रुक रहा है, परेशान हो रहा है कि you are sticking a dagger in my heart. Now he is more excited and says, I am so happy and I'll plague him means I'll persecute him, I'll torture him, I'll do all the bad I can do, all the evil I can do to torture Antonio and to take all the revenge from Antonio for all the hatred and the ancient grudge that he has against Antonio. Tubal says, one of them showed me a ring that he had of your daughter for a monkey. एक क्रेडिटर उन्हीं में से एंटोनियो को जो था उसने मुझे एक रिंग दिखाई जो तुम्हारी ही डॉटर ने उसको दी थी and for the exchange of a monkey. So the ring must be of one ring only missing and that is of turquoise. So Shylock says, out upon her. Thou torturest me, Tubal. It was my turquoise. I had it of Leah when I was a bachelor. I would not have given it for a wilderness of monkeys. वो कह रहा है, you are torturing me. Shame upon you for giving me, shame upon her for such a thing. You are torturing me, Tubal, by giving such an information. वो जो ring थी वो बहुत important ring थी. That was my precious turquoise, and it was even more valuable because it was given to me by my late wife, the dead wife, that is Leah. When I was a bachelor, जब शादी नहीं हुई थी तो शादी से पहले उसका एक गिफ्ट था which Leah, his dead wife, had given him, and that is why it was so important for him कि वो बंदरों के एक पूरे झुंड के लिए भी उनको नहीं देता, monkeys का a herd of monkeys, wilderness of monkeys, उनके लिए भी नहीं देता है. लेकिन यहाँ पर उसकी बेटी ने बिना सोचे समझे वो एक मंकी के एक्सचेंज में एक वैल्यूबल टर्कोइस रिंग दे दी. Tubal says, but Antonio is certainly undone. एंटोनियो की बात जहाँ तक करी जाए तो वो तो पक्की तरह से बैंकक्रप्ट हो ही गया है. अगेन Shylock is excited and he says, nay, that's true, that's very true. Go, Tubal, fee me an officer, bespeak him a fortnight before. जल्दी से, ये बात तो तुमने बिल्कुल सही बोली Tubal, और इसलिए ऐसा करो, जल्दी से ही जाके एक ऑफिसर मीन्स अ लॉयर, जस्ट हायर अ लॉयर so that you can ask him and request him to prepare all the papers of penalty and terms and conditions. ख़त्म जो ड्यूरेशन है पेनल्टी की, बॉन्ड की, उसके ख़त्म होने से 15 दिन पहले ही उसको बना लो. बिफोर अ फोर्टनाइट मीन्स 15 दिन पहले ही वो सारे पेपर्स तैयार कर लो, सो दैट ऑन द डे ऑफ पेनल्टी आई एम एग्जैक्टली ऑन दैट डे रेडी विद ऑल द थिंग्स. आई विल हैव द हार्ट ऑफ हिम इफ ही फॉरफीट for were he out of Venice, I can make what merchandise I will. मैं अगर उसने पेनल्टी को उसने अगर उस पर इनकर करा या उस पर पेनल्टी लगती है, then in that case I am going to take the part from the heart, right from his chest where the heart is. वहाँ से मैं 1 pound of flesh लूँगा, and मुझे पता है अगर वो वहाँ से मेरे लाइफ से हट जाएगा, इस वेनिस से हट जाएगा, then I will be free to make whatever profit I wish to. तब तो मैं कितना भी इंटरेस्ट ले सकता हूँ. I will be free to do my business the way I want. And अभी का ये हल्का सा 3000 डकेट का लॉस जो है, I am ready to take that for the sake of the future profit that I am going to make once Antonio is out of my way. Go, Tubal, and meet me at our synagogue. Go, good Tubal, at our synagogue. वो कह रहे Tubal, जल्दी जाओ, synagogue में सारे पेपर्स और सब चीज़ें रेडी करो, और लॉयर के पास सब चीज़ें रेडी करो, और उसके बाद मुझे synagogue में मिलना, टेम्पल पे मिलना, the Jewish temple, and there you can give me all the papers, terms and conditions for the penalty after the bond expires. So with this we come to know the evil plans of Shylock, and we come to the end of Act 3, Scene 1. Next scene in the next video.